Oh, W. O, W. There's snow on the mountain. New snow from last night. I live in the most extreme place in New Zealand. The hottest, the coldest, the windiest, the driest, the foggiest, the mistiest, the most amazing. And people ask me, why would you want to live somewhere that's so extreme? And I always ask this question: how can we handle pressure, challenge, extremeness, if there's such a word, if we live in the average? And why would you want to live in the average? To me, average is somewhere between awesome and yuck, somewhere between amazing and horrible, somewhere between best and getting better and worst and getting worse. And I don't want to live there. In the middle. I want to live at both ends. When you experience extreme yucky, then you can really appreciate beautiful. And often, this is just a simple example. I love the nighttime because I know the daytime's coming. How can you appreciate bright sunshine if you've never been in the dark? How can you appreciate a beautiful sunny day at the beach if you've never had a freezing cold raining day? They're the simple extremes of life that we have absolutely no control over. So when I wake up in the morning and it's freezing cold and there's snow on the mountain, that's awesome. But there's days, and only yesterday it was raining and cold and misty and people were complaining about the weather. But 24 hours later, there's not a cloud in the sky, I don't think. Just beautiful, fluffy ones. The sun is shining and there's snow on the mountains. That's called extreme. And I love it. People do that to us all the time, don't they? People give us our worst experiences in life and our very, very best, most exciting, special memories. People treat us terribly badly. They gossip about us, criticize us, try to pull us down. And there's other people that add so much value to our life because they are excited for us, they hold us accountable, they love us, they cuddle us, they treat us beautifully. But how could you appreciate this if you don't have that? And the really interesting question to ask there is, most of that, can you control it? So can you attract beautiful people in your life? I think it's more likely if you're a beautiful person and you have control over that, so that's awesome. But these people that come into our lives, the nasty ones, the criticising ones, the gossiping ones, the yucky ones, we often can't control that. But are we tough enough to handle it? And how would we be tough enough to handle it if we don't have the extremes? So people often ask me, Rowie, you're happy all the time. How come you're happy all the time? One of the things that doesn't make me happy, one of the things that I avoid is average. I don't want average of anything. Average home prices, average wages, average health, average life. Somewhere between yucky and awesome is that average spot. And a lot of people accept that, believe that's the only thing that they could ever have. I can't have that. I don't want to have that. That's awful. So I know what I don't want. I don't think I'm ever going to have that. So I'm just going to have to settle for average. Average is not the extreme, and that's why I love the extreme so much. My fingers are so cold, they're just freezing off, and I just love it. People often complain to me about the cold. I love the cold because how can I appreciate a beautiful, hot, sunny day if I've never had the cold? How about we love the things that we cannot change, we change the things that we can, and we constantly working for the wisdom to know the difference. So rather than complaining about the cold, I can't change that. So how about I accept it? I can't control, and this is a funny thing, for example, that exercise. People say, I can't exercise because it's too cold. Yesterday, people told me they couldn't exercise because it was raining. It won't be very long here in the central of the South Island of New Zealand where it's really, really hot in the summer. People will say, can't exercise, it's too hot. They're extremes. Now, the human body will adapt to all the extremes. Your hormonal system, if you're freezing cold, will shiver to warm you up. And if you're boiling hot, it will sweat to cool you down. Isn't that exciting? That's the human body being able to cope with extremes. The hormonal system is designed that if your body's under threat and you could die, it will get you the hell out of there. See, it's so cold I can hardly talk. Isn't that awesome? I just love extreme. And my hormonal system right now is working really hard to warm me up. When it's really hot, it'll work really hard to cool me down. If I'm under threat, my hormonal system works really hard to produce all the epinephrine, adrenaline, cortisol to get me the hell out of there, or so that I've got the energy to fight. And then I get rewarded for overcoming a challenge. And that's why I don't like average. Because if you never overcome a challenge, you never get that beautiful response of dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, brain-derived neurotropic factor. That only comes when you put your body into the extreme of the phosphate system. So you get really puffed, you put in 100% effort, and then you get rewarded with those beautiful, happy drugs. Well, if you live in average, if you exercise at an average speed, if you lift average weights, if you don't put your brain under challenge, you just have average life, your brain has no reason to change. That's the really important thing to remember, yeah? If I don't go into the extremes, my body's got no reason to change. If I don't get puffed, my body's got no reason to get fit. If I don't lift heavy, my body's got no reason to get strong. And puffed and heavy are both extremes. They're the opposite to doing nothing and doing nothing. If I do nothing, my body won't change, my headspace won't change, I won't fill my brain up with happy drugs, I won't be able to think more clearly. See, the beautiful thing right now about being freezing cold, your body produces epinephrine. Again, because you're under threat. If your fingers start to freeze, your body says you could die from cold. So your body produces epinephrine and adrenaline so that you stay warm. That's why you shiver, and that's why your body says you better get moving because it's freezing cold, because it's an extreme. So of course, when you produce epinephrine and adrenaline, when I go inside, I'll produce serotonin and endorphins, brain-derived neurotropic factor, dopamine. Dopamine's the really cool one because that's a reward drug. It says, Rowie, you got freezing cold and you handled it. You went and got puffed and you overcame the challenge. You kicked and you punched and you lifted heavy and you overcame the challenge. Somebody horrible came into your life, an extreme, yucky, poo bum person, and you handled it. So I'm going to reward you. My own brain will reward me with dopamine. Congratulations, Rowie, you handled the challenge. So here's some reward drug. Here's some satisfaction drug, serotonin. Here's some pain-killing drug, endorphin. Here's some oxytocin neurotransmitter, love drug. And most importantly, brain-derived neurotropic factor, fertilizer for my brain, so that next time when it's freezing cold, next time when it's boiling hot, next time when somebody's nasty to me, next time when I have to overcome a challenge, my brain is smarter, better, wiser, stronger, tougher to be able to handle the challenge. Isn't that awesome? That's the hormonal system, the central nervous system, the amazing human body. All of that works in the extreme. Get puffed, lift heavy, extreme. Big challenge, extreme. Freezing cold, extreme. And they're all the things that make us better people, stronger people, wiser people, and makes life, I think, more exciting. So don't live in the average. And I'll rephrase that. We can all choose to live exactly where we bloody well want. Isn't that awesome? And that's why I live in the extreme of the South Island of New Zealand, because I love the change. I love freezing cold, and I love boiling hot, and I love windy and snowy and misty and foggy. I love all of those things because they're not average. They're somewhere between. Average is somewhere between yucky and awesome, and I don't want to live there. I want to live being able to handle the yucky and the terrible and the challenges so that I can really appreciate the awesome. That's what Romax is all about, being fit and strong to be able to handle everything that comes into your life. Having a career or business that you love so that you can really appreciate. See, having a lousy, stinking, rotten job is down that end. Having an average job that pays the wages and you go there, I'm boring, that's average. I want to wake up every day loving what I do. How about you? Being broke, I've been there, and it's a really great experience because you learn so much. Being wealthy is a really great experience because why wouldn't you want to do that one time? Financial freedom means you don't have to worry about money, and that's what Romax is about. Extremes. I want to be healthy, fit and strong, career or business that I love, be financially free, and have great people in my life. And how could you appreciate any of that if you haven't had the opposite? How can you appreciate healthy if you've never been sick? How can you appreciate your fantastic career path or business if you've always had an average job and you've never had a challenging, yucky one? How can you appreciate being wealthy if you've if you've never been poor? And how can you appreciate having the beautiful people in your life if you've never had the terrible ones? So thank you for coming to Romax. I'm here every day to make sure that you can live your life to the max. See, that's the extreme, not sub-max, not ordinary. Live your life to the max. So you can sing every day like I do in the freezing cold and the snow of the South Island of New Zealand. I feel good, na 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 na. I knew that I would now, 'cause it's a beautiful day every day. Woohoo!